everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Miracle Marketing Podcast. We're on the show with my co-host, Big Perry. Big Perry, how are you doing this morning?
Doing pretty good, brother. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. How's everything in the ATL?
Man, it's hot and we surviving.
All right. We have a special guest in the studio for us today. We're getting ready to kick off the NFL season, so I figured it would be, a great thing to have none other than an former NFL player. We have Mr. Mike Pritchard on the show. Good morning, Mr. Mike Pritchard. How are you?
I am fantastic. Good morning. How y'all fellas doing?
You've been doing
Pretty
great,
good,
sir.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Doing great. So
Good.
for all of you that don't know, Mr. Mike Pritchard is a first round draft pick, got selected to the Atlanta Falcons. Mr. Pritchard, got anything
Yes,
to
sir.
talk about with us on the show today? We got
Oh
NFL
man.
season coming up. What's your
Yeah,
thoughts on the NFL season coming up this year?
yeah. Well, just a lot of thoughts. I mean, first of all, glad that football season comes around. I mean, from here on out, fellas, we got football, whether it's college or NFL, every single weekend, right?
Right.
All the
Yeah.
way through February. So that's a good thing. No, I'm excited about this year. You know, a lot of people are making some headlines. You know, Aaron Rodgers going to New York. That's a big headline storyline. Will Kansas City repeat? Patrick Mahomes is fantastic. That's the storyline. Will my Atlanta Falcons finally show up and get to the playoffs and win that division? They got a good young team out there. So no, there's a lot of excitement. There's always excitement when football season rolls around. So getting ready for that grind. But I wouldn't want it any other way, fellas.
All right.
I know that's right.
So on your predictions, let's see. You were selected by the Atlanta Falcons. Do you consider yourself a Falcon at heart? Because I know you play for three different teams. You play for Denver, you play for the Seahawks as well. Out of the three teams, which one do you consider yourself to be, a little more biased to?
Okay, you know what? I don't have a bias. All three of my teams, right?
Okay.
So I'll rock I'll rock the Falcons jersey. I'll rock the Broncos jersey, and I'll rock the Seattle Seahawks jersey as well. So those are the teams that wanted me and paid me, and that's where my affiliation is. So
I get it.
yeah, my bias. I mean, I root for all three of them, to be honest with you. And so I want nothing but success. We had the Pritchard Bowl not too long ago. We had
Mhm.
several Pritchard Bowls, but Atlanta when they played Denver.
Mhm,
I think that was in Miami. That was a Pritchard Bowl, and then Seattle played Denver,
mhm.
and another Super Bowl, and that was up in New York, and that was a Pritchard Bowl. So with my three teams, I get to not have a bias, but rotate between the three of them.
Okay.
That's
Uh,
cool.
Perry, go ahead. You got a question for Mr. Pritchard?
I wanted to ask you a question about. I know with football season, it involves a lot of the youth, especially in the schools and in the community. I saw in your bio that you work with the Boys and Girls Club. Uh, do you mentor a lot of up and coming young football stars?
Yeah, I do. I do. I was fortunate enough, Big Perry, to I have a big brother who was 7 years older than me, right? And outside of pops, you're looking for other influences as a kid, and for me to be 7 years old, 8 years old, and I'm watching my brother out in the park, play with his friends, his teenage friends at the time. I
Mhm.
wanted to be a part of that, right? I wanted to go out there and compete. And they didn't take it easy on me. They said, okay, if you get hurt, it's not our fault. But they soon realized that I was faster than everybody else out there. And so they started to support me, right?
Yes.
So yeah, it's important. I mean, now Boys and Girls Clubs, Big Brother, Big Sisters, all that, those organizations. I mean, if we can reach back to our youth and certainly try to motivate, try to inspire, I mean, that's a good thing. That's a fantastic thing. So I continue to do that. It's fantastic. I worked with everybody, really, Warren Moon, and there's so many people that want to reach back to the youth, and that's what at this point in my life, that's certainly something important for me.
I had a
Do you
question.
ever train any?
Oh, go ahead.
Do you ever work with any athletes as far as like training?
If they inquire, if they ask, I would. But I haven't really put together a camp or anything like that. I know a lot of guys they do, and I'll frequently visit camps like that and certainly participate. But no, I don't seek it out. But certainly if somebody wants to tap into that knowledge, I'm more than willing to give it to them.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Now you played with you were selected #1 by the Atlanta Falcons, 13th overall pick. When you were there, was Dion on the team when you were playing?
He was. Prime was there. Prime was already a superstar at that point with the Falcons. So yeah, Deion Sanders, that was one of the things, for you get drafted to Atlanta, I'll never forget it. And Jerry Glanville's calling you and saying, "Look, you want to be a Falcon?" I'm like, "Yes." And then so you just immediately remember or think about Deion Sanders, right? And then I soon learned, okay, Andre Rison was on the team, and Michael Haynes and Jesse Tuggle and all these stars, and I'm like, wow, we got something going here. And so yeah, no, Coach Prime now, but Dion at the time, Dion Prime time, I mean, he was spectacular.
What was it like being in the locker room with as a rookie with people like Prime Time and just your overall rookie experience, like first going to the NFL? Was it overwhelming? What was it like in your rookie season?
All of it. Overwhelming, eyes wide open. At that time in Atlanta too, Big Perion can speak of this. I mean, Atlanta in 1991 was Hotlanta. I mean, for what Freaknik, I mean, you had so much going on. It was the New York of the South. You had all kind of music entertainers down there. Just starting out now they're huge, right? Luda and Jermaine, I mean, all these guys, right? And so Babyface, all these people down there. And so Hotlanta, you had all the sports teams winning too. The Braves were going to the World Series. The Hawks, with Neek was still on the roster, and then we were up and coming too. So everybody wanted to be in Atlanta, and so I arrived at the right time, and it was a blast. It was great. But in the locker room, everybody was awesome. I mean, everybody wants to show you the ropes and take you around the city, where to go, where not to go, what to do, what not to do. But no, we had a good time. We had a fun year. In fact, my rookie year, the Atlanta Falcons was voted the funnest team in the history of the National Football League
I bet.
because we had a lot of fun. We had James Brown coming to practice. Yeah, we had Evander Holyfield. Hammer was on the sidelines, and so that was the funnest team in the history of the National Football League, voted on by all the media, right? And so we went on into the playoffs, beat the Saints in a wild card round, and unfortunately lost to the Redskins. And they went on to win the Super Bowl that year, though.
Okay. 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 Um, have you ever thought about coaching?
Quickly, a quick thought. I mean, no, I never wanted to, because I know the amount of hours I put into it as a player, it's double, triple sometimes as a coach, and I got my full of football. To be honest with you, fellas, I once I was done, I was like, I thought about it briefly, but then I was thinking, man, they're going to take so much from me, and it's really time to whether enjoy my family or certainly look to be a mentor if I can, or do something else. So that was my path. I thought about coaching briefly, but didn't follow that thought.
Yeah, it's a grind. It's a lot of preparation, a lot of
Yeah.
work you got to do into coaching.
And talent too, and then also it's a special person. I think it takes a unique person because you're a teacher, right?
Mhm.
And so you gotta always understand that and remember that, and those are the best coaches to me. So I knew I wasn't made up that way.
Yeah.
But no, I have all kinds of respect, so much respect for anybody who's a teacher or coach.
Yeah. To me, I would think that coaching would be like having a second family. You have to put in so much time with the guys to get familiar, learn their personalities, and at most times be a second father to a lot of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I
So,
mean, you're spending so much time together, and you're going through so much, right? I mean, being a professional athlete, we're not even talking about college ranks, but being a professional athlete, there's such a fine line between very confident or lacking confidence, right? Ego gets bruised a little bit, or you make a mistake. You could be the greatest athlete. Say you're T.O. You're the specimen. You can play football. Nobody can cover you. You're outstanding, right? But just that small fine line I talked about, if you lose your confidence, all that goes away.
Yeah.
And so you turn into a mortal, as opposed to an immortal, right? And so from a coaching standpoint, yeah, you're right. You got to know how to push those buttons
Yeah.
and keep that player or players motivated, but then more importantly, know each and every player individually, though.
Mhm.
Yes.
A lot of managing different personalities, because once they get to the pros, you got a lot of egos to manage as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, definitely. So one thing I wanted to ask you, I want to take it back to little boy Mike Pritchard.
Hmm.
Was the NFL something that you ever dreamed you would play in? Was football your first passion? Take us back to, those years as little Mike Pritchard.
Yeah, I never, even though I wanted to play, and compete with my brother and his friends, I never thought I'd go to the National Football League, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
When I got to high school, Randall Cunningham was playing at UNLV.
Mhm.
And so when I was in high school, right before high school, junior high, I got to go to a UNLV football game, and I watched Randall Cunningham play. And I was like, well, you know what, I want to go to college, because
Mhm.
at that time I didn't know if I wanted to go to college or not. And so when I got to high school, that was my mission. Like, I knew about, being able to get a scholarship. I was familiar with it, found out more information, and then
Mhm.
certainly when I started playing, the realistic possibility of getting a scholarship and going to college was becoming reality for me.
Okay.
So even when I got to college at Colorado, I didn't think I was going to go to the National Football League. I was trying to get a degree so I could go on Wall Street and take their money. To
Wow.
be honest with you, I was going to be a stockbroker and work on Wall Street and take their money. But no, football was never at the forefront. I had idols though, Tony Dorsett, Walter Payton. I cheered on those guys and marveled at what they did. But no, man, I never really had that passion or that drive to be a professional athlete though.
You just used it as like a stepping stone initially to get you to college.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's one thing, you try to pay for college and student loans, and that's difficult.
Mhm.
But boy, if you can get a full ride and you can earn your way and they can pay your tuition. I mean, that was the best route for me. So yeah, that was my mission. That was my drive. And once I got to high school, I knew I wanted to go to college. I didn't know where I wanted to go at that time,
Yeah.
but I knew I wanted that scholarship though.
Yeah, that's a blessing to to be able to do something when you want to and stop whenever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have some people that um, their whole life is built around whatever their gift or their talent is. If they're good at playing football, that's all they do
Mm.
because they feel that they can't do anything more. But I think it's real cool that you can recognize that even though it wasn't an initial passion, you knew that you were good at it, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that you could use it to, you know, make room for yourself.
Well, absolutely. And that was something I think instilled in me from pops. My dad was a career military Air Force, and
Mhm.
so he always said, have a backup plan. No matter what you want to do, have a backup plan, right?
Mhm.
And so when I was going to college, or not, when I was in high school, wanting to go to college, I didn't know what my backup plan at that time was going to be. Maybe it was going to be military. Who knows if I didn't get the scholarship, right? But I think once I knew how good I was, and I knew I was motivated to go to school, I did everything, anything and everything possible to enhance those chances. Like I would go to summer camp and participate in football, sharpening my skills. Right. I would try to compete in the summer against older players like junior colleges or around Nevada, Utah, Cali, Arizona, stuff like that. Always wanted to get better because I knew in order to earn that scholarship, I needed to get better. So it worked out. You know, I played 3 years on varsity, and those letters started coming in for recruiting, and the rest is history after that.
When did you know, like at what point and around what time frame was it that you knew you were good enough to go to the next level?
I would say my junior year in high school, because I got elevated to varsity my sophomore year, and I ended up starting, and then I ended up impacting the team, right? Greg Anthony was on that team, Hooper. You guys know who Greg Anthony is.
Yeah, Greg
Yeah,
Anthony
yeah,
when
GA.
UNLV run. I didn't know he played football. I
Yeah,
knows him from basketball, being on the Running Rebels and the Knicks.
yeah,
He played football.
we grew up around each other and same junior high, same high school, and he played quarterback. But he chose wisely to go to the NBA though. But you know, he was another influence though, very smart young man at the time. I want to say at 19 he got his real estate license, man. I mean,
Oh, wow.
Greg's a genius. Yeah. So, you know, it was being around people like that for me. But my junior year, you know, I became the focal point of our team, and my head coach at the time said, "Look, you really got a great chance of getting a scholarship, and I'm going to help you." So he reached out to all these colleges, and they started, you know, getting to know me, and then certainly our local paper. They would put articles out, and that's really how you get traction, and that's how you get attention. So I was getting recruited by pretty much everybody across the country at that point.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned about going into the stock market and,
Oh yeah,
and whipping those guys.
taking
Are
their money.
you involved in it now?
I am. I went and tried to get an economics degree, and good friend of mine, he actually works on Wall Street. He's got a hedge fund, but I didn't go that far. You know, I went the private equity route. And yeah, just trying to take their money every day.
What do you think of the because the sports betting thing is really huge right now? What's your thoughts on that?
You know, growing up in Vegas, I, I never thought these major sports leagues would align themselves with sports betting, but they have. I mean, they see how lucrative it is, right? So you got Major League Baseball partnered up with sports books. You know, you made the National Football League, all hockey, basketball. Everybody is associated with some type of sports book situation because they know the revenue is just going to keep growing, right? So it's regulated heavily. It's been known lately, you know, some guys got popped for trying to gamble, trying to bet. They just don't realize, you know, you're giving up your social security number, you're giving up a lot of things, and they track you, right?
Track you,
They
especially
track you.
if you're in the NFL, they can find you easily.
Yeah, and that point got across to me early on in my career because we would have a meeting with, you know, the FBI and agents like that before each season saying, look, don't bet, can't bet. So if I went into a casino, I'm like, where's sports book? And they would tell me, I'm like, okay, don't go that way. We can't go that way. I would not want to be seen in a sports book. And that was true even after I retired. It wasn't until maybe 3-4 years ago when rumblings were beginning about the National Football League partnering up with sports books that I'm like, you know what, it's okay. And then I looked into the CBA, and now the players get revenue sharing from all these revenue avenues that the NFL has created. So we're revenue sharing with these sports books. So yeah, I mean, I dabble now. I go in there and look around and have some fun sometimes.
That's great. That's great.
Sports betting is almost like the music industry, like you get royalties and publishing.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy because you know you got these guys that got popped recently from sports betting, and I'm like, why would you bet, you know, $20, whatever it is, 50, $100 when you as a player you get 49% of the annual revenue generated by the National Football League, right? And we get to share that even as a retired player, we get to share that, whether it's
Wow.
benefits, whether it's the salary cap keeps going up and up and up. Um, whether it's opportunity to align yourself for marketing purposes and make money that way, you're gonna make so much money that way. When you go ahead and bet when you retire, you know, you're risking a lot being a player. There's no reason to risk even more betting, right? Go ahead and
Yeah.
retire like I am, and go ahead and do it recreationally if you want to.
Let me ask you one question. Now, if you had the opportunity to buy a team,
Hmm.
what team would you go for?
Ooh, that's a great question. That's a great question. Um, Man, I tell you, wow, that's a great question because you got to factor in so many things, right?
Mhm.
Man, that's a great question. I think because your fan bases are everything. Um, and you know, certainly history helps you. Like the Broncos, they got a great history of winning Super Bowls. Um, you know, Seattle, not so much great history, but recent history of success. And then you got Atlanta, you know, Atlanta getting to the bowl and everything a few times. But gosh, that's a great question. I think factoring in the market and
Mhm.
factoring what I could do with that team, probably Denver, because Denver, the Broncos logo, you know, when I was playing with them, we played in Japan, we played internationally because our owner at the time was on an international committee. And
Okay.
we would travel. We'd go to Barcelona, we'd go to Tokyo, we'd go to Canada. And so that logo, it's like the Cowboy star. The logo is everything.
Mhm.
And I think from a Broncos standpoint, that would create so many business opportunities worldwide. So if I could buy into a team or own a team, that would be the one.
And then
Yeah.
what's interesting is I just found out recently Condoleezza Rice is part owner of the Broncos.
She is absolutely. I mean that's a good group. You know, Magic is partial owner of
The
the
commander.
Washington team,
Yeah.
Commanders. Yeah, so we're seeing, you know, inroads there, and certainly the chances are that door is open. How about that? Where you know you might not be the majority owner, but certainly be a part of the ownership group is the start. I think a big things to come.
Even if you have a fraction of it, that's a great thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, because the stated goal, fellas, the stated goal for the National Football League is 25 billion annually. Now, I think they're around 20 billion. So that means they got 5 more billion to go with their stated goal in terms of growing revenue. And so you want to be on that train. You want to be affiliated with the stated goal from 32 different owners of making $25 billion annually if you can.
How
I
excited?
had a.
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead,
go ahead.
Perry.
Go ahead. You good? You good? Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, you're here in Vegas.
Hmm.
Super Bowl is coming up here in Vegas.
Yeah.
One other thing that you do right now, you're presently on ESPN radio as a radio host, have your own show. How excited are you for the Super Bowl to be here in Vegas? And I'm sure you're going to be covering it.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited. First of all, I never thought we would have a professional team. I mean, we got the Aces, we got the Knights that won the Stanley Cup, and now we got the Raiders. And so it's been crazy the last few years around Vegas, right? Growing up here, but I couldn't be more happier for my city. It's a great opportunity to showcase Vegas even more. Not that we have to, but you know, I think people are going to see and get introduced to Vegas in a different way, which is a great opportunity. I mean, you think about the lights, the glamour, and the gambling and all that, but now there's so much more, so much better community, and so many people moving here that globally, Vegas is going to get showcased that way. So I think it's a great opportunity. I'm hoping it's at a level of success to where it can be on that rotation with the National Football League, where you know every 5 or 6 years they're coming back here
Mhm.
for a Super Bowl. So we had the draft, we had the Pro Bowl, and now we're going to have the Super Bowl. So obviously the NFL likes Vegas,
Yeah.
and for good reason. For
Mhm.
good
Yeah.
reason. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be spectacular. I was in Atlanta when we hosted the '92 Super Bowl. I think it was Dallas and Buffalo.
Okay.
And you know that was before the Olympics got there, and so everybody was so excited of the growth that was about to commence, and certainly being in the future for Atlanta. So I'm envisioning the same kind of thing out here in Vegas.
Go ahead, carry on.
I was gonna say, I used to want to dabble in. Well, I have a lot of ideas, but when I was in high school, I played football.
Yeah.
And my career pretty much ended. We were doing guts,
Okay.
and on the practice field, we had some power holes, and we were doing our guts, and I ran and stepped in the hole and bent my knee back. So that was it for me. So it was music from from then on.
Right.
But I used to wonder about well, I had a couple ideas about protective gear for football players, especially when they were having a lot of concussions and
Right.
and people breaking their necks. Do you ever get into investments and stuff like that for I guess I know you said you love to get into the money and taking their money and stuff like that, but have anybody ever approached you with different ideas to invest in? It doesn't have to be football, but anything.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, there's a lot of former players that have created products, to your point, in terms of trying to help from a safety standpoint, right? Whether it's improving the helmet, or the shoulder pads or whatever it may be. I mean, there's a lot of advancement right there, and I think there's some companies, private companies mostly, but some players, former players, are involved with some of these private companies. I never really pursued that. I should have. I should have. That would have been a great opportunity. But no, there's advancements, and certainly the NFL, they won't stop, and they spend a lot of money trying to make sure that the game is safe. I mean, we know it's a violent game, and it's changed over the decades since I played it. But the emphasis is player safety, and they go about it the right way. I mean, each and every year they are trying to enhance, fine tune whatever they can, involving former players too, to be able to improve the safety elements of the game.
Well, we're running out of time here, so I just want to, ask you, do you have anything that you want to share with the viewers? Definitely talk about your radio show, where people can find you and tune in to the radio show.
Yeah, I'm all over the place, to be honest with you. I'm freelancing a lot more, so you'll find me on The Odd Couple with Broussard and
That's my
Parker.
boy, Chris
And
Broussard.
yeah,
That's
I
my
love that
boy.
show. Yep.
Me and Chris Broussard text a lot, from
Okay.
time to
Yeah,
time.
I love this show. I love this show. So looking forward to being on their show. Hopefully this year. Doug Gottlieb. I do some ESPN. I do a lot of stuff for VSiN. It's Vegas Sports Information Network. And it's a sports betting network. Absolutely. So I'm their lead NFL analyst. But you can catch me on Twitter, or X as they want to call it now, at MI Pritchard. And then I'll have a link for everything that I do typically up on that. So yeah, no, I thank you for the time and certainly the platform. But nothing other than, people enjoy life, look out for each other if you can, and try to better somebody's life if you can as well.
That's dope. That's dope. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
For your time, and I enjoyed all of the information. You're a beautiful person, and I wish you the best of, I'm not luck. I just wish you much success in everything you venture off into.
Hey, I appreciate that. We're all blessed, and certainly we're all beautiful people. We love that. But to be blessed, and you want to bless somebody else if you can. I mean, it's such a great feeling.
Thank you. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Before we go, I just checked out this morning the new format of Undisputed.
Yeah.
A lot of your former players on the show. Have you had a chance to watch it yet? And what are your thoughts on the new format?
Is it out yet? Because I
It just
haven't.
came out. I watched a few clips of it this morning.
Okay.
So you got Keyshawn on there. You got
Keyshawn,
Michael
Richard
Irvin
Sherman.
and Richard Sherman on there.
Yeah.
So
Michael's always a character. I mean,
he's entertaining. He's entertaining.
He's very entertaining. Michael Irvin can fire up a fire ant hill. Like, I know you ran into some fire ants, right? We all ran into some fire ants, those ant hills. But he speaks with so much passion, and he means it, right? And so that's a great addition. I thought Michael Irvin to be able to debate somebody, because that's what we're talking about, debate TV, right? And he can handle it. I think he can handle Skip and trying to get under his skin or whatever. But he'll also get his point across. Richard Sherman is so smart. I mean, he went to Stanford.
And he's from my hometown. He's from LA. I'm from LA. I'm from South Central. He's from Compton. Yeah.
He's from Compton. Right. Yeah. You went to, yeah, you're from South Central. Yeah, he's from Compton. And so very, very smart. I cannot wait to hear his thought process. And and Keyshawn's been in the game forever.
He's another hometown boy from LA too.
Yeah, he's not South Central though, is he?
He's South Central.
Oh, he is South Central. Okay,
he went to Dorsey. I went
Dorsey.
To
that's right. Okay. Yep. He went to Dorsey. Okay. So I play with a lot of fellas from South Central and Compton. So but I think his intelligence, his experience is going to be valuable too. But I like the rotation. I think having three personalities like that's going to keep it fresh. And best of luck to them. They're going to be competing though with Shannon and Stephen A. So I mean, let the games begin with debate television now.
Would that be something you would ever want to get into, is debate TV?
Oh man, I would have lost it on Skip after he said what he said. After he said what he said to Shannon. He had a locker right next to me, and I can't believe he held his cool as much as he did.
Yeah, he really did hold his cool. But he was ready to come across that table. He was ready to come across that table.
He was. But no, I don't have the patience for that, man. I lose my temper, I think.
You seem like a mild-mannered guy.
Well, now, but you're in a competitive environment like that. You kind of lose it a little bit sometimes.
All right. Well, it's great having you on. Thank you for all the information you shared with our viewers. We definitely would love to have you back, maybe closer to the time that Super Bowl is coming around. Get your thoughts on that.
Oh yeah.
Thank you again, Mr. Pritchard. And
appreciate you.
Perry on, you got anything you want to leave our viewers with?
Make sure y'all tune in and keep tuning in to the Miracle Marketing Podcast. We have some great guests with some great hosts, and I just hope everybody have a beautiful day, beautiful week, and make sure you love each other.
Yeah, well said.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day, Mr. Pritchard. And
you guys do the same.
All right,
you guys take care.
All right, bro.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.